right, about 4 months to the general election slated for February in 2023. A lot of political parties, especially the major players in the election, are beginning to set the ball rolling with their political campaigns across the country. I remember that INEC lifted the ban on campaigns on the 28th of September 2022. And since then, a lot of events have been building up until now. There have been some sort of drama across some of the political parties. And of course, the worsening crisis, we may say, in some of the platforms as well. But today we would set straight some of these issues. We'll speak to some of the salient issues that we need to talk about ahead of the presidential election. And this morning in the studios, I'm being joined by two stakeholders within the ranks of the major political parties, two of the major political parties in this contest. That's the PDP and the All Progressives Congress, the APC. Mr. Leye Igbagbo is here in the studios with me this morning. He is the Director, Media and Publicity of the People's Democratic Party in Ondo State. Good morning, Mr. Leye Igbagbo.
Thank you for having me.
And I'll also be joined by Mr. Olalekan. Mr. Olalekan is the Publicity Secretary of the All Progressives Congress in Ikeja, Lagos. And of course, he is the convener of May Asiwaju Succeed. That's a group rooting for the emergence of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the next president of the country. Okay, my name is Olabisi Olaniyi Oluwasegun. It's good to be back on the show. Good morning once again. This is the program Politics 2023. Yes, you used to know the show as Public Square, but for now, we would center our discussion. Majority of our discourse will be centered around the 2023 general election. And so, yes, today we will be launching the show in that direction. Once again, I say good morning and thank you for joining us. All right, I said earlier that there are so many issues to talk about on the show this morning. But first of all, we would look at some of the issues that the major political parties, that's the ruling All Progressives Congress and the major opposition People's Democratic Party, have been trying to settle ahead of the general election. The APC was supposed to commence its campaigns on the 28th of September, but due to some reasons, this could not happen. There have been a lot of questions Nigerians have been asking, especially people from the opposition camp, questions of what exactly is the APC doing, where is the presidential candidate's whereabouts, and all of the rest. Well, a lot of controversies were brought about, given the fact that these questions were hanging and Nigerians were eager to know and are still eager to know answers to these questions. While all of this were going on, a video emerged of the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, where he was seen bubbly and all healthy and hearty, as against some of the insinuations from the opposition camp. As a matter of fact, it was seen in a workout session, and this again heightened, you might call it, the curiosity of some of these political rivals as to what exactly is this man up to. Where is he? What game is he playing? Is he a step ahead of us? And some of the other questions that we would look at on the show this morning. And again, in the PDP, there have been the dragging issue of whether or not Wike would work for the success of the party come 2023. That's the Rivers State Governor, Wike. The BOT's attempt to wade into the matter. And just yesterday, we got another report that this effort was botched because the meeting allegedly or supposedly, put together to ensure that some of this crisis are laid to rest was deadlocked. The BOT waded into it, but then the outcome of that meeting. We would hear from the man who is from the party this morning. Probably he has some information that we are not privy to, but the much we know about that is that it was deadlocked. And then the issue of the housing allowance saga, the return of some money is running into millions of naira, and the indictment of the national chairman of the party as well in a corruption allegation. We'll talk about some of these things and some of the ripple effect it will have on the outcome of the general election in 2023. Once again, welcome. And now we have Mr. Olalekan in the studio. Thank you for joining us this morning, Mr. Oni.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm glad to be here this morning.
All right, so before your arrival, I was trying to give listeners some sort of background story to, information now as to what we will be looking at on the show this morning. Your party had already picked a date to commence its campaigns up until there was the news that this has been postponed. And about 2 days ago, we heard reports that another date has been set, which is October 10, all things being equal. But then yesterday again, we heard that this is not even sure yet. A lot of controversies around some of these issues. As a member, stakeholder in the All Progressives Congress, what exactly is the true picture of things?
Well, let me say good morning to all the listeners at home. I'm glad to be here this morning. Okay, as regards the commencement of the campaign, especially the presidential campaign of the All Progressive Congress, APC, like you said, a date was fixed for the kickoff and it was postponed. I think one of the reasons why it was later postponed was because of the PCC list that was earlier released like a week before that kickoff, and there were a little bit of complaints from some of the stakeholders within the party, the governors, the leaders, and some of them were complaining that some of the list or names they submitted were not included in the list. So it is important that they carry them along as stakeholders and leaders of the party. So I think one way or the other the list was retrieved, and then another list will be coming up. And I think some days ago, I think if I'm not mistaken, Monday or Tuesday, the PCC met with the progressive governors at the campaign headquarters, and I think that's one of the discussions that were held at that meeting. So we should expect that a new list will come up before the campaign kicks off. And if you ask me, I think that's one of the things delaying the kickoff of the presidential campaign. And another date was fixed, which is 10th of October, next week Monday. But up until this morning, I've not heard if that date has been shifted till now. But even if, like I said, I think that list has to come out first before the campaign kicks off, because the kickoff will be that all names on the list will be inaugurated as directors of units and and all of that. So something must come first before the kickoff, which is the list.
Okay. All right. So now, apart from the issue of the Presidential Campaign Council list, which of course I just needed you to say that and we needed to hear from the horse's mouth. You are a stakeholder in the party, and
Yes.
there have been controversies when elections are approaching like this. We hear a lot of stories, some founded, others not, and it's only fair that we hear from people who have first-hand information so that we do not mix things up. Now that you've clarified, another issue that has been trending on social media especially is the question of where is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Just when this was going on, we saw a video of him emerge on social media looking all bubbling and hearty and young and active in a workout session. And this again raised the question of what exactly is happening. Could you please set this straight and probably tell us exactly what we need to know as regards this?
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is rightly in London as we speak. Apart from
doing what?
Doing meetings, meeting people. As of yesterday, we saw a a picture of where he met Toyin Suberu. Toyin Suberu was the MD CEO of HITV, So Asiwaju is in London. Probably, it's possible that he's taking some rest before the kick-off, rejuvenating. Campaign is not a child's play. Going around,
it's not a tea party.
Yeah, know. So going around the country, the 36 states of the federation, holding meetings, it's not a joke. So Asiwaju, in his own private, personal thinking, thinks that he needs to, reinvigorate and get more strength for the task ahead. You will agree with me that after this year, before the primaries and even after the primaries, no presidential candidate has worked like Asiwaju did. Before the primaries, he was moving around, canvassing for support and all of that. And even immediately after the primary, he did not rest. He ensured that he visited all other aspirants that contested, even those that withdrew for him at the primaries. And he has been moving around, doing consultations from one place, royal palaces, and all of that, holding meetings across the nation. So it is common sense and it is experience.
It's only natural that it takes time out.
And thank God that, all the rumors that has been going on that is on the sick bed have been quashed by the video, the pictures we see. And so Asiwaju is coming back.
All right. So now, before I start to ask questions regarding some of the attributes that set your candidate apart from other candidates in this contest, let's talk about the other field. I mean, there have been a lot of issues emerging from the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Leye Igbagbo. At some point, Nigerians began to wonder if the PDP is really serious about this presidential election, because the first thing we heard at the inception or at the commencement of the whole presidential race, right from the days of the primary elections up until now, is that Atiku Abubakar, who is your party's presidential candidate, is supposed to be a unifier. But events in recent days have shown otherwise, with the worsening crisis within your party, where we have some faction loyal to the River State governor and the other faction loyal to the national chairman of the party, Iyocha Ayu. And then there have been meetings upon meetings, deadlocked here and there. What exactly is happening in the PDP to start with?
Thank you very much. Before I go into that, please can you permit me to say a few things about what my friend has just said, because the office of President of Nigeria is meant for all Nigerians, and so as it is, it's a game. APC is there, PDP is there, so and either of them can, ultimately become the president of this nation. Even though I know by the very special grace of God that PDP is forming the next government, but then the signs are
we'll leave Nigerians to decide that.
The signs are very clear. You don't need God or any other prophet to tell you that what is coming out, what is oozing out of APC and its candidates are ominous. And then it's very visible to those who can see beyond their nose. And then the deaf can also hear that the signs are very ominous. And what do I mean? If a presidential candidate of a party, a ruling party for that matter, is not available to attend to his campaign programs, being the symbol of that campaign, being the one that should be the signature of all eyes. And then people begin to give different excuses. He's resting, he's taking his time in London, he's meeting one individual in London rather than meeting Nigerians who he actually wants to preside over. I think it's laughable, it's despicable, and it's amusing. It shows if a presidential candidate or a president to be a would-be president is resting even before the program commences. The signs are very clear that this particular person, with every sense of responsibility, does not have the physical fitness. And let me say this, that the problem we're having in Nigeria today is tasking, is arduous, is onerous, such that we need physical fitness.
Now, before you go ahead, let me quickly chip this in. Are you aware of the fact that Nigerians have demanded that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu should present his medical report to ascertain his health status, and he has responded that the only condition with which he will do that if other candidates across all political parties also do the same thing, because they have equal rights under the laws of the country. So if you are not a doctor,
that is begging. Excuse me, that is begging the issue. You see, the president of the nation, somebody who is going to be president of the nation, must be open to all Nigerians. For example, some other time they ask from the aides, where is the Bola Tinubu? Thank God that my brother even said he's in London now. Some, even those who are very close, who are the spokespersons, I'm talking of Keyamo, said he did not know the whereabouts of his principal. Somebody is speaking for. He does not know the whereabouts of his principal. It's quite ridiculous. And now, he instead of begging the question, what I would have expected a presidential candidate to do, okay, since they are, talking about...
It is true. It could be true that Keyamo said that, but the man who is in charge of his media and publicity, Bayo Ononuga, has come out to say that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is in London taking some rest and will be back very soon.
Which rest is he taking before the campaign now?
Does he not have the right to take a rest?
He does. What I'm trying to say is that we are talking of physical fitness here now. I'm not saying he does not have the right to take a rest. I'm not saying that. But if a race has not started and somebody is already taking a rest, it speaks a lot of...
Now let's talk about your party, because you say this election is going to be an inclusive one. It's
right.
Not just about the All Progressives Congress.
Right.
The LP, that's the Labour Party, which has Peter Obi as the man of the moment. I mean, the man who is flying the flag of the party is also involved. Your party as well has its own issues. Now, the question, first off, is Atiku was sold to Nigerians during the primary election of your party as a unifier.
Right.
And right now, a man who is supposed to be a unifier has been termed by a lot of Nigerians as a destructor. How would you explain this?
Nigerians do not describe him in such a manner. Maybe some section, or maybe
a section of the country.
No. Maybe opposition, maybe all progressive party members are described or misconstruing him in such a manner. He is not. He's still a unifier. And
has he been able to...
Hold on. You're asking me a question.
I'm still on the same path.
Okay.
When you say he's still a unifier, has he been able to unify the party first before thinking of unifying...
That's what I want to ask. That's what I'll answer you now.
Okay.
Now, if an individual, just an individual, is expressing his reservation or his concern about a particular issue, does that make Atiku not being a unifier? For example, now, it's only Governor Wike who has been saying that he has some issues to track with the party. So does that make Alhaji Atiku not be a unifier now? In other words, if he has been able to unify 99%, because we are all human beings, if he has been able to unify 99% of the party, so what makes him not to be a unifier now? Because of Wike. And let me also say this: Wike is still a member of this party, and he has said it repeatedly that he's still a member of this party. He has a right to express his concern. You cannot use that one to equate APC, whose national executive council of the party does not even know the composition of the PCC in this party. They rejected it, and that's why they have been delayed. In those days, when they were talking of bringing vice presidential candidate, we brought our own, Senator Okwa, immediately. They brought placeholder there, and after that, before they now brought the real person there. Now, election campaign is to start September 28th. We have swung into action. They are still prevaricating. They are still deducting. They are still including. So, if you are talking of crisis, then I will expect you and urge you to look towards APC. That's where crisis is, and that's why we should be discussing now. In PDP, there's no such crisis. What we have there is a member, a stakeholder, one person saying no.
There are more than one persons now.
There are 5 governors with
hold on. It's one person. The other ones
has 5 governors with him.
One person.
5.
It's not holding. Let me explain to you.
Me,
this is my party.
This question, Mr. Leye, I know it's your party, and
I need to explain to you what's happening there.
Yes,
I know it more than you.
You will answer the questions that I, pose to you. The reason we have this conversation is so we could set some of these things straight, and lay to rest some of the controversies that we have especially in the social media.
Right
now, you said there is just one person within the party. Within the ranks of the party, we have 5 governors. One of them is the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde. We have one of the stakeholders within your party, Bode George, who yesterday came out to say that your national chairman must resign for you to have any meaningful deliberation. First off, he has to resign. How would you then say there's no crisis in your party?
There's no crisis. It's just interest. And I told you that political parties are run on interest. Now, the fact that Chief Bode George had said somebody must resign does not mean that he has to resign. Hold on. It's entitled to his opinion. It's entitled to the highest we have. The party has. Sorry. Just hold on. Let me explain it to you. The party has organs. There are party organs. The National Executive Council, the BOT, Governors Forum, and other stakeholders. Now, all of them had passed votes of confidence on the Dr. Yoshe Ayu-led Executive Committee. They have passed it. So the truth of the matter is that when in an election, it is the majority that carries the day, and not the minority. Minority will always have their say, while the majority will have their way. If Governor Wike or Chief Bode George says that somebody must resign, and the large portion have said no, he cannot resign, or he must put ahead. What else do we?
Now the question is, you have already said that there are 2 folds within your party now. We have the minority who thinks that Ayu should resign, and the majority who are against that move.
Let us assume that now, that conceded.
What happens? What will be the ripple effect of these differences on the unity of your party?
I'm only trying to assure Nigerians that there's no cause for alarm. It's just internal disagreement that is being resolved, and I can assure you that the unifier that Alhaji Atiku will definitely unify. If somebody is a unifier, that does not mean that issues of this nature cannot couple. The ability to unify makes him a unifier, and then if he's unifying,
they say charity. Hold on. Charity
begins at home. He's doing it. What I'm trying to say is that if there are issues, it does not mean that the issues will be resolved in a day, but there are processes, and he's doing that. Don't forget that the BOT member, had meeting with Governor Wike recently. I think a day before yesterday or thereabout. Acting. No. It is you that is saying installment. It is work in progress.
Okay.
And in that meeting, Governor Wike said it categorically that he's a member of PDP and that it's a work in progress. What else do you need? What we need to do, I assure you, is that all is well. There's no cause for alarm. If there's any place to express alarm, it is PDP. It is APC. We have told you.
Before we look at other issues within your party, there are so many issues. This is just one of the many issues.
Yes, mention other one.
There's the other one that centers around the housing allowance saga, the 150 million returned by some members of your NWC, and the position of your national chairman on that. Recently we heard that a committee has been set up to investigate why these monies were returned by your national chairman. That means that it's the PDP against the PDP, but we'll come back to that. Now,
let me explain to you.
We would come back to that. Okay. Mr. Olalekan, it's been said by your counterpart in the PDP that there is crisis in your party. How true is that?
Which one?
Mr. Olalekan, is there a crisis in the APC?
Let me say that I think the only crisis he mentioned was about the list.
The presidential campaign list.
PCC list. And that same day, the national publicity, why the propagandists came up with a letter that emanated from the national chairman directly to Asiwaju Tinubu who is the incoming president of Nigeria by God's grace. And
Would
that
Nigerians
same
to
day,
decide that?
yeah, that's why I put by God's grace incoming.
Okay.
I didn't say president.
Okay.
You know, so that same day, the National Publicity Secretary of the APC debunked that letter. So what else do you want?
How
If
did
you
the
say-
letter emanate in the first instance? That's the question.
that's why I said that a letter by propaganda.
Who is the propagandist?
Why do I need to mention it?
Okay,
So if you say a letter came from the national chairman, and the national publicity secretary said that there was no letter, then I don't know if you wrote the letter. I don't know. Maybe the letter came from PDP. But let me also say this quickly before you ask your next questions. If you have noticed, it is one of the most difficult tasks to do is to sell Atiku Abubakar. Very difficult. I can see that my counterpart is really struggling, and I've been to different media houses and I found out that it is always difficult. How can you say that Wike is one person? Wike as one person is even more than some of the 10 stakeholders in PDP.
Okay,
Wike has 5 governors with him. Chief Bode George is a major stakeholder in PDP, especially in the southwest. So if you have these people saying that Iyocha Ayu must resign, and you're saying that it's just the interest and all of that, how can you say Wike is just a person? Wike that nurtured your party for like 3 good years,
So Wike is 2
sponsors it's more than 10 persons.
Okay.
Well,
According to you.
literally speaking, Wike is just one person.
Oh.
Well,
So if you have another explanation to your position that is not one person,
It
probably
has
you
to-
should say that.
I said there are 5 governors with Wike.
Okay.
Sheyi Makinde is with Wike. This Bene Autumn is with Wike. Then we have this other governor. So we have this
Let's
other
not
governor
them
with Wike. I'm trying to remember the
remember
governor.
very
We have the Enugu State governor with Wike. We have the Cross River State governor with Wike. We saw when you presented your list, their presidential campaign council list. We saw how people withdrew. You will know that there is a hand in all these people, Arakpaja and Co, that are returning monies and all of that. You will know that. How can you say that there is no crisis in PDP? How?
Let me explain
Okay.
to you.
Okay, I'll give you just 1 minute to explain that because we have other questions.
I have told you that what we have in PDP today is just internal disagreement
Now,
between
the
members.
question in the middle of all of these assertions and insinuations is that why did members of your national working committee return money to your national chairman, and then some members in your national secretariat, in the party's secretariat, said they would not receive the official letter written to the national chairman because they see it as a joke.
Whichever way. Now, I want you to know that the National Executive Council Committee is the highest organ of the party, and it's not made up of one individual. It's made up of so many members. So, and I've said it here that when majority takes decision, that decision becomes binding on all other. It does not matter the opinion of the minority. It's a generally accepted axiom that majority will always have its way, while minority will have its say. Now, at the level of NEC, they met. I can tell you that there's no person who can issue bank transfer without the resolution of validly conducted meetings of the National Executive Committee. Now, it was resolved at that meeting that housing allowances must be paid or should be paid to NEC members. I'm sure you know they stay in Abuja. They will need to get their housing. If they are getting housing, their drivers will be there. You can't put a member of NEC in a place and ask his driver to go and escort.
Arakpaja doesn't stay in Abuja.
I'm just trying. Wherever he stays, it does not stay in Abuja. Does not mean that he should be denied of what belongs to him at the level of that NEC
just to
resolution.
counter
But you know, I'm not saying that he can stay anywhere, but that does not mean that he should be denied of what actually belongs to him. So they give them housing allowances to take care of themselves, their aides, their security, their drivers, cooks, and all of that. they have to, input that, because they will not be giving money to security alone or differently, or giving it to driver alone. They have to give it to their principal, who now knows how to handle it. So that's exactly what has happened. Now, if some people feel that they don't want it, how has that become a problem? I'm sure it's not all of them that returned it. Some of them, majority of them, collected it and used it for the purposes for which it is meant. So if some, for reasons known to them, personal reasons known to them, so we are not taking this, how has that become an issue?
Now, the fundamental issue in the PDP right now is the fact that the presidency was not zoned to the south, and the ranks of the party, to a lot of us, the wiki apologists, is somewhat lopsided. They think that the national chairman cannot be from the north, and then the presidential candidate will be from the north, and then the BOT chairman. Okay, well, thankfully the BOT chairman resigned at some point, but the point is, some of the members of your NWC who returned this money, the majority of them, 6 of them, are from the south. Arapaja is from the south. The national vice chairman, South also returned. Mrs. Stella, who is also from the south, also returned her money. Don't you think this is a signal, a subtle signal that has been sent to the leadership of the party? There's
no such signal. I have told you that you have a right, unless you want to tell me that you don't have a right to accept something or reject it. If you are telling me that there's no such right, then we can begin another conversation of their own. But the fact remains that they have been given what they are entitled to from the party. Now, if they now return it, we shouldn't create issues out of it. This is what I'm trying to say. The fact remains that they are entitled to it, and it has been resolved at the level of the National Working Committee that this money be paid to them. They submitted their bank data. Abi, they were the one. It was not national chairman who went and got or created the bank account for them. They were the one who submitted the bank accounts for onward transmission of what their entitlements. And do you want the national chairman to put a call to Adaba? Look, we are transferring money to your account. I'm sure you don't in those states here now. We have what do you call them? Public office holders who had also submitted their account details to relevant departments. So if they want to pay to them now to such accounts that they have submitted, will the governor or any other person assigned for that business or duty call them? Look, SSA to Mr. Governor, we want to send money to your account. No, they submitted the bank details, so they have paid what they are entitled to. So what is the issue? We have to discuss another issue. I have told you that there are some people. APC is trying to create crisis where there is no crisis. Where we should be looking to for crisis is APC. Where there are problems.
Without overflowing
there's no crisis in
Olalekan, you have been talking so much about your presidential candidate and why Nigerians should choose him as the next president in 2023. What do you think are some of the attributes that sets him apart from other candidates?
Well, this is a question I always love to answer. Asiwaju Tinubu is the best candidate to become the next president of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Why? Track record speaks for him. His records while he was the governor of Lagos State. So many things, from economy to security to human capital development, transportation in Lagos, how environment, how he raised the IGR of Lagos from 600 million naira to almost 15 billion naira in a month. Education, he did excellently well. And the Lagos of today, where everybody across the country, across Africa, across the world runs to, the foundation of those successes that we experience in Lagos today were laid by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Today, Lagos ranked among the biggest economy, not just in Africa, but in the whole world. Presently, in Africa, Lagos is the 6th largest economy, and third largest economy in West Africa. These are the things that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done. And by the time Nigerians vote for him in the next general elections, he is bringing to fore all these experiences, all this track record to improve, please mark my word, to improve on the successes that has been gained by this present administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. Let me also say that in employment, Asiwaju in one day in the year 2000 employed 2,600 graduates in Lagos State. In fact, some of the people that were employed are listening to me presently as I speak. Asiwaju created many ministries to ensure that we have more people who comes into the civil service. When Asiwaju became the governor of Lagos State, 50% out of 100% of civil servants in Lagos were ghost workers. He immediately did an audit of civil servants in Lagos State and ensured that ghost workers were laid off and paved way for new employees in Lagos State and increased the welfare of civil servants in Lagos State. Today we have LASU in Lagos State. LASU is not under ASU, so LASU has not been experiencing anything called strike. And Asiwaju invested over ₦1 billion in LASU to improve the standard of education of LASU and make LASU is Lagos State University, and increased the conducive learning environment of LASU. I can count on and on. But all this is exactly what we are using to campaign for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Secondary school, today you can go online and see that people talk about my Asiwaju story. What has Asiwaju done? If one way or the other, Asiwaju has helped a lot of people. The One Day Governor initiative, which was started by Asiwaju, some of the young students of secondary school that were made One Day Governor then are now great men and women in the society who are saying that this is my Asiwaju story. Asiwaju is non-tribalistic. It is only in Lagos that you have an Igbo man or an Hausa man who is a commissioner. We have a lot of them. We have Ben Akabweze, who is already the federal DG for budget, who is from the southeast. We have Joe Igbokoye, who was a SA doing under Asiwaju. And we are telling the youth of Nigeria that the only candidate that can promote the youth to an enviable status in the society is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The current governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, was appointed as an SSC to Tinubu while he was 36 years old. Muiz Banire is a popular name in the legal industry. He was appointed by Tinubu at 37 years old, and many more people who were young people, and Asiwaju admitted them into his administration, and today they have moved on from that to become great people in the society. So these are more what we are using to promote Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
All right, you just said that in the cabinet of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he had people from different extracts, from the north, from the east,
yes,
and put them together, talents basically together for the development of the state at that time.
Yes,
that to a layman is the basic definition of unifying. Now, that would bring my question to Mr. Leye Igbagbo of the PDP. Now, one of the basic things you've been campaigning with is the issue of Atiku being a unifier. I want you to talk around this point. How does he intend to unify the country if elected in 2023?
Thank you. Let me say this. One of the basic or the greatest feature that will be required of the next president of Nigeria, I say again, is physical fitness. It's because the country
is your party's presidential candidate physically fit?
Yeah, he is. You can see in this country as it is now has been starkly disunited, disoriented, and disharmonized. So, somebody who is going to be there must be physically fit to unify the country that is already.
How does physical fitness
Simple.
and unification relate?
Just hold on.
How?
Just hold on. Now, the problem we are having in this country today is because the president of this country is not strong. It's not that strong. I don't know.
How?
Just hold on, my brother.
You had your time, Mr. Olalekan.
Just hold on.
Let him speak, please.
Me, I can also interject you. I just decided not to do so. So just allow me. Now, what major problems we have today is because the president is not always available. Maybe due to ill health and some other things like that. And that's why there's no leadership. Everybody is a leader in his own way. That's why the country is so disoriented and so disunited this time around. Then, again, Nigerians are not going to be taken in by deceit. Because this particular candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, sold this deceit to us in 2015, saying that President Muhammadu Buhari is bringing change in the economy, change in security, change in the corruptive nature of governance. But today there is high level government backed up criminal conspiracy against the nation, where the mainstay of Nigeria economy, which is oil, is being filtered, is being stolen recklessly by those in government, and they have no, and they are talking about corruption, and they have no solutions to it. That's why they keep on borrowing, because what should have been taken as wealth for us has been filtered away by government backed up criminals.
Okay, well,
I'm coming.
All right.
I'm coming. Now, you know that there's problem in Ukraine and Russia now. We should be feeding fat on such now. Now we are borrowing already. We have borrowed this generation. Now it's borrowing the next generation. Now I'm sure before he leaves, third generations will not be able to pay for this. So Nigerians to be very, very careful about all these superfluous statements. We should go beyond these rhetoric and tell us what and how he will do it. And I've told you that one of the major things that will affect us is if you are not fit. If you are not fit, there's no way you can do all these things. If you are sick, my dear sister, if you are sick, to even lift your leg or lift your hand, it's a difficult thing. So Nigeria is a very big country, and it's a very big mess now. That like somebody will do this, somebody who's already dancing before the campaign starts, and you're saying he's going to do this. It's easier said than done.
It seems as though you do not have anything to campaign with. I asked you a question about your candidate, and you're busy talking about another party.
Hold on. I've just told you now. I've just that, by the way. What my party is going to do, I have told you, is to first of all unite the country. I have told you that this country is in disharmony. This country is in disarray as a result of nepotism, as a result of lopsidedness, as a result of gender insecurity, and as if that gender insecurity is also being masterminded by those in government. So what our government, represented by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar as the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is going to do is to first of all unite the country by rebuilding the confidence of government in the governed. Because as I can tell you today now, the Nigerians have lost confidence in this country. And if you can see, if you notice, there are so many people migrating out of this country now because of this hopelessness. So what we are going to do first of all is to rebuild the confidence of the people, by bringing the country to them again, because this country is is not in the hands of Nigerians today. So what we are going to do now is to return the country to Nigerians.
When you spoke the other time in your submission, you were speaking as if the PDP is a budding political party in Nigeria. Your party was in government for 16 years.
Yes.
Uninterrupted.
Good.
And towards the end of that, of the Jonathan administration, which was the last PDP president we had before the advent of the APC administration,
right,
there were lots of, because you spoke about corruption, we need to, speak to some of the salient issues,
right,
without having to be bitter in our submission. Now, there were a lot of corruption cases instituted during the administration of Goodluck Jonathan, especially the most popular of these corruption cases was the diversion of the 2.5 billion naira meant for the purchase of arms to prosecute the war against Boko Haram at that time. And a lot of people, officials in that government, were indicted in the case. How would you explain this?
Now, what this party, APC, says it was going to do is to nip or eradicate corruption. But I can put it to you now, as corruption.
The question is, you cannot keep dancing around my questions. The question is, was there corruption during the PDP administration?
People were prosecuted. I'm sure Chief Sunday Afolabi, who was very close to Obasanjo as at that time, was
and then we had Dasuki Get still very fresh.
Chief Bode George was prosecuted, and they were prosecuted and they were judged. But today, PDP or APC should tell me one single person that he has prosecuted successfully, in spite of the corruption mantra that he wrote to power. They should tell us who they have prosecuted to the final conclusion. So, if there will be corruption in any society, the ability, the capacity to arrest it is what makes governance and government. I have told those that they were indicted and they were prosecuted. I want APC, Mr. need to tell me any singular person that has been prosecuted or indicted, prosecuted, and the judgment has been given and been served in this APC today. What they have been doing is that when you get to APC, sinners becomes saints. That has always been. Except he has to tell me particular person. I want him to tell you that before we has been indicted, has been prosecuted. I have told you those that have been indicted and prosecuted in PDP, and those who says that they are going to eradicate corruption, bring it to the BRS. They should tell me now anyone single person they have ever indicted or prosecuted up to the final conclusion.
What's your reaction to that, Mr.
Olalekan? Corruption. Well, I am here to promote Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And one of the things I want to tell my counterpart is this: please, any opportunity you have anywhere, promote your candidate. You have spoken more about APC than even Atiku Abubakar, which is not good for your work. Which is not good for what you are representing. We are talking about the 2023 elections, and you should speak more.
When you are, yes, but if you say something, I'm sorry, my brother. If you say something that needs to be put straight, to be straightened,
no, it's not about me. He asked you that how is Atiku Abubakar going to be
on this?
I said what we want to do is to unify, is to bring. I said our party, our government will bring Nigeria to Nigeria. Nigeria is out. Nigeria is out of Nigerians. It's out of the hands of Nigerians. And what we are going to do is to bring Nigeria back to Nigerians. We are going to rescue it. We are going to rebuild it. We are going to recover it from the fangs of those that have held it at the jugular. That's what I've said.
Mr. Igbagbo, well, I said the other time that you were just dancing around my
No. Except you don't really listen to me very carefully.
You've not been expressly assertive.
I want you to take your time and be at home with me so that you can understand the message.
Anyways, our time is fast spent. Unfortunately, you did not succeed in selling your candidates to Nigeria.
Oh, so how else do you want me to say it? But I have told you. See, you need to listen carefully.
Before we go
put your hands here.
Before we go on the show this morning, Mr. Leye Igbagbo, I'll quickly ask Mr. Olalekan to talk about this issue of money politics in Nigeria, the issue of vote buying and the involvement of youth. Remember that in 2019, youth were not as actively involved in politics as we have it now. It's a wave, actually. Go on social media, you see how much of interest they have in who becomes the next president of Nigeria. Yeah. Now, how is your party, and especially the presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, working to ensure that youths are given that sense of belonging and hope ahead of the elections?
I think that I have answered that question even before you asked me. I told you about how Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu promoted youth while he was the governor of Lagos State. So that's a hope.
That was in the past.
Yes, now that's antecedent.
What's the plans for the future for 2023?
For 2023, by the time Nigerians vote for Asiwaju as the next president of Nigeria, young people in Nigeria should expect that they will be an integral part of his administration in all, and they will have a sense of belonging. It is what he has done before. He will do it again. I'm happy you asked the question about the involvement of youth and the awakening of youth in politics and all of that. It's a very good one for the polity, for the country, and for, the politics and elections and all of that, because we have the vast majority of young people who have their PVCs and registered and all of that. So it's very good. And I'm also saying that this involvement should not stop in campaigning alone. Young people across the country should get ready to vote on the day of election, because their vote counts. These days we have the election process is now creditably done. As we saw in Ekiti, we saw in Osun State and all of that. So manipulation has been reduced to its BRS minimum by the BVAS and all of that. So your votes now count beyond the electionary, beyond the work, beyond the solidarity work and all of that. Please ensure that your PVC is being used for votes and come out. Your votes now count. Money politics and all of that. It depends on how you see it. Vote buying would definitely be reduced.
So even say your party has not officially kicked off campaigns.
Yes.
But we see a number of rallies, solidarity rallies across the country. We saw in Ibadan, we saw in
fire everywhere.
Videos. Why with mammoth crowd.
Yes.
What exactly is happening?
Because campaign has kicked off since September 28th. The fact that the Presidential Campaign Council has not been inaugurated doesn't stop party members across the country to continue in a way they know and all of that. And like I said, Asiwaju is coming back. Asiwaju is around. By next week, hopefully, we will hit the streets more. There are many other wars taking place across the country for the APC presidential candidate. And from that work alone, you can see that the most popular candidate is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
From your chuckle, seems you have a reaction, Mr. Leye.
Okay. I want the Nigerians to keep hope alive. I want them to continue to support PDP in its bid to rescue the economy from hopelessness that it is now, where dollar is now $720 to $1, unlike PDP's time when we have 180 naira to $1. Then I want them to also partner with us in bringing security back, truly rejigging the security architecture.
Just like you did while you were in government.
We can see what we are doing right away now.
All right, gentlemen.
And then we are going to invest. We want to ask them, especially the youth.
Unfortunately,
we want the youth to join us in education, because they have a what do you call it? Strike now.
Strike during PDP.
So we are inviting them to join us so that their future will not be as bleak as this.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen, for being on the show this morning. Mr. Leye Igbagbo, PDP Media and Publicity Director on the state. Thank you very much for being on the show.
The pleasure is mine.
And Mr. Olalekan, who is the Publicity Secretary of APC in Ikeja, Lagos. Thank you very much for being a part of the show.
Thank you.
Until next week, Thursday, when we will be back. There are still more issues to discuss. So hopefully, we'll be back with more next week, Thursday. My name is Olabisi Olaniyi Oluwasegun. Good morning and thank you for listening.